In this video, I would like to talk about why most men feel lost and how I was able to get out of a place of feeling lost, feeling like there was no purpose, and eventually finding my purpose. I feel like I have. So these are the things that I have learned, these are the things that I have realized, and maybe they might help you or maybe they might not, but I just hope that even if it was something small, I hope that it can still help you in some way. Number one is following the crowd. Now, this is something that I learned a lot when I was in primary or middle school if you are American. When I was in middle school, I felt like I tend to follow the crowd. I feel like there were some times where I was excluded out of maybe friend groups and all that, and I would want to be in certain friend groups or be not maybe not just in certain groups, but just I would want to just be in any groups of people that I kind of liked, people who I was friends with. And when I was in high school, I started to really care about who I hanged about with because I started to realize that other people around me, other people that I knew from primary, were maybe going into crowds that maybe they shouldn't have, or maybe they were doing things not necessarily really bad, but just things that might have been not so good for me to do and things that I knew I didn't want to do. So I started to realize from other people, I started to learn from other people's experiences, and I started to be very careful on who I included myself around, who I was talking to, who I was surrounded by. So for me, that's something that I started to focus on in high school was who I was surrounded by and not following the crowd, not following the things that they were doing. Maybe I heard parties, maybe people going to parties. That's something that I never included myself in. And I just kind of stuck with my own lane. That's kind of something that I did do in high school. Maybe in first year, second year, maybe I was still friends with a lot of people. But when it went to third and higher, I was I was more secluded. I made sure who I kept my friends tight. As I said, I am just very careful who I surround myself because I know influence is such a big thing, even nowadays. Whether your influence is like significant or whether your influence is small, maybe being in high school, but I know that that can have an impact. So again, I was just very wary on who I surrounded myself with. And even now, I'm very wary on not only the people who I surround myself with, including friends, family, but even the types of videos that I watch on the internet, even the types of motivational videos, just because I know I just, it's a bit like everything. I just surround myself, I put myself in things that I know are going to help me. Things that don't, I'll just leave and move on. So that's something that I've tried to focus on. That's something that I have been focusing on is just not following the crowd, not doing the things of what society wants you to do, on what society thinks is normal. Because nowadays, I mean, I don't have to say them out loud, but nowadays, society thinks that doing A, doing B, doing C is all good things. But even though deep down they are harming us, these things are harming us, these things are doing the opposite than good. Number two kind of relates to number one, but it is to keep your circle small, which is something that I have been doing again since I was in high school. Now, a lot of people could say that I don't have lots of friends, which is fine. Maybe the reality is I don't have lots of friends, but I like it that way. I would rather have little to no friends, which maybe sometimes that could be the case, rather than having groups of friends that I am unsure about. Maybe groups of friends that could be leading me down the wrong path of what I want to do in my life. So that's something that I have been doing for a long time now since I was in high school is just to keep my circle small, especially when I started to see that when you do surround yourself with big groups of people, sometimes they can, not all the time. I don't want to speak for everyone, but not all the time, but sometimes they can lead you down not a good path. Sometimes they can and like sometimes they can influence you to do things that you don't want to do. So I just try and keep my circle small. I just try and keep that trust of people small. And there is only one or two people who I ultimately trust. and I like it that way. Maybe for some people, they might see that as weird. Maybe they have large groups of people who they are friends with. Maybe they have lots of friends. Maybe you have lots of friends. But for me personally, I have found it so beneficial to keep my friends, my circle small. I'm not sure if this sounds bad or not. Apologies if it does, but it saves energy instead of focusing on people that might not even be my friends at all, that might be talking behind my back. I'm able to just have one friend, one best friend, one or two, and just put all of my energy onto them and just talk to them about everything. And what I realize is keeping my group small, I've been able to just have more peace. It's not something that I need to think about regularly. I've been able to focus more on the things within my life instead of focusing on friends, as I said, that might not even be your friends at all. Number three, this is also something that kind of relates to number one and two. It is to focus on what I care about. As I said for number one and two, sometimes society wants us to do things. Society can glorize things that we know can harm us. And what I tend to do is I just tend to not follow the crowd. That's something that I focus on so much, is I just try and stay in my own lane. I try not to care about what other people are doing. And I try to focus on the things that I know are going to help me. That's kind of one thing that I focus on quite a lot, is what is the things that are going to help me, that are going to help my future family, the things that I know are going to help me down the line. What is the things that I can do now? And that's the things that I think about. And that is why I keep my circle small. That is why I don't tend to focus on the crowd, because I know by doing the opposite of those things, then it can lead me down a path that I don't want to live. Maybe for some people, they might want to live that life. That's fine. That's totally fine. That's your life. You do what you want. But for me personally, that's not something that I want to do. So that's why I keep my circle small. That's why I don't tend to follow the crowd. I like to do the things that I know are going to help me, the things that align with my goals. And that even includes surrounding myself with people that I know are going to help me and I can help them as well. I just tend to focus on the things that matter to me. And by doing that, although I might not be at the place where I want to be, although many people might say that I'm not even at a great place, which is fine, but I still feel happy with the place that I am at right now. And I believe that I believe the place that I am at right now is because I have focused on the things that I want to do. Focus on what matters to me and not what matters to other people. Other people might enjoy other sports or do other things. That's okay. But I like to focus my time and my energy on things that matter to me, things that I care about. I tend to focus on the future quite a lot. Sometimes in a worried way, but sometimes just in a way of peace, if that makes sense, just in the way of, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to focus my time and energy on this so that I can live a life that I want to live. So that's what I mean by kind of peace. I tend to always follow what my heart says and what I want to do. Sometimes I can be stubborn, but I tend to focus on the things that I want to do, because if I see something that they don't, and this includes goals, this could include other things as well, but if I see something that they might not see, then I know that this is the path, this is the journey that I want to go on. And to be fair, this is what I mean by sometimes I'm quite stubborn, but I tend not to let anyone take me away from that. I tend to just do what I know is going to help me. Of course, maybe I'm not at the place where I want to be, but I believe it's led me to a place right now where I feel happy. Sometimes, yes, I get self-doubt. Sometimes, yes, I say sometimes, a lot of times I go through the trials and tribulations of life, of just going after our goals as well. But I'm still happy because I know that this is the journey that I'm on. This is the journey that I chose. And I know that this is the journey that is going to lead me to the places where I want to be. Number 4, I believe, is so important because it's something that I've been doing for a long time now, for years and years, which is always having faith, always keeping that faith. It's a mix of hope and faith. And I understand it can be so tough, so challenging to keep that faith, to keep that hope on things working out, For me, I tend to have faith in the Lord. I tend to have my faith, have my trust, and have my hope onto Him, because I know that He can do what's best for me. He has plans for me. So that's why I just try to keep my faith, keep my trust. And me being this religious, in the past, I never used to be sort of religious. Most of my family don't believe in God. Most of my family aren't religious. But within these past 5, 6 years, I've just focused spiritually, a lot spiritually, and I've focused on God. And even at the beginning, when I still had hope. One thing that I still had, I would say, is hope. I just, I still, it was more of that mindset, more of that statement, that sentence that I would say to myself, well, what if this does work out? What if by some chance everything gets better? Maybe I never had big goals or even small goals back then, but what if the challenges that I was facing back then, what if I could get out of those challenges? What if everything could get better? These are the thoughts that I kept having. So I would say I've always had that hope. And sometimes in the past as well, that hope can disappear. But again, I felt like I just reminded myself constantly, well, what if? It's more of these what if thoughts. In the past as well, usually I used to say, well, what if this thing happens? What if this negative outcome happens? But as well as having that negative mindset, I also used to have, well, what if this good thing happens? What if this thing that I'm facing can lead me to this place? What if things do work out? The more as time has gone on, I started to have faith and trust and put my trust in the things that I believe in, which is God. Maybe for you, that might be something else. Maybe for you, or maybe you don't believe in God. But for me, I just tend to have faith, have hope, and put my trust in to God. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes it can be tough. Sometimes it's not easy. It's tough, it's challenging. There's some days where you say to yourself, why me? Why am I going through all of these challenges? Why should I trust? Why should I put my trust somewhere else? But what I have faced within these challenges, what I have learned within these challenges is that, especially getting to know more about God, is that it's more of a believe to see it type of thing. You have to believe rather than see. And I also tend to remind myself of the things of the past, even when I never seen something, even when all hope was lost, but I still put my trust in God. I believe that led me to a place where I am at now. So I tend to just still focus, even though it can be hard, even though it can be difficult and challenging, I still tend to focus and put my trust and put my faith somewhere else instead of maybe putting that faith onto me. He always comes through. He always helps me. And that's why I always have faith. I always have hope. And even when I never believed in the Lord, even when my relationship with God wasn't where it is now, I still had hope, which is why I believe that has led me to the place where I am at now, where I do have a good relationship, I would say, with God, because I still had that hope that there was something better out there for me. So I would say it's important to, although it can be challenging, but to try and focus on the positivity, to try and turn that negative situation into a positive one, even if the emotions might not be there, even if you don't really think about it, because over time things will start to change. That's what I have personally experienced, and that's what I still believe is true. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would appreciate it if you could please like this video, subscribe down below, and if you know anyone that may benefit from listening to this video, then I would appreciate it if you could please share this video to them. Thank you for watching, and I will see everyone in the next one.